Today my video is on the flow of blood in the heart and basic anatomy of the heart. So a mammalian heart has 4 chambers in it, and we separate them out by right and left sides. So this is the person's right and left side. So as we're looking at the person, their right is our left. A little confusing. And then we also separate them out by atria and ventricles. So the atria are on the top and the ventricles are on the bottom. So the first thing to know is that the right side of the heart is always going to have deoxygenated blood in it. So I'm always going to make our deoxygenated blood in blue. And the left side of the heart is always going to have oxygenated blood in it. So I'm going to make that in red. So the other thing to know is that blood comes in through the atria and out through the ventricles. So we can think of this kind of in a little chart like this, where we've got right and left, atria and ventricles. So we get in at the top, out at the bottom. We get oxygenated blood. Whoop. Knew I was going to do it. Oxygenated blood on the left side, deoxygenated blood, sorry about that, on the right side. All right, so now I want to look at a slightly more complicated view of heart anatomy. So we're going to look at kind of the whole heart now, and I'm going to do one side at a time. So I'm going to start out with the deoxygenated blood. So that's going to be on the right side of the heart, on my left side, but we call it the right side of the heart. So let's see if I can do this. This is always a little bit tricky. So we're going to have 2 routes in. So that's this part here. So 2 routes into the heart, and those are called the Vena Cava. So heart's going to come in from the body. Let's make this line go all the way down here. Heart's going to come in from the body through the Vena Cava. We have the superior on the top. That's all of the blood that comes from places above the heart, so like the head and the neck. Then we have the inferior Vena Cava on the bottom, and that's all of the blood coming in from the rest of the body. Everything below the heart comes in through the inferior Vena Cava. Okay, so let me make the bottom of our heart here. So the top of the heart, that's going to be our right atrium. And then I'm going to separate it from our ventricle there. So we're going to have blood coming in from the body through the Vena Cava into the right atrium. Okay, and we call this blood coming in from the body, we call it coming in from the systemic circuit. So this is our first step in the systemic circuit, is stuff coming in from the body. The systemic circuit is also going to contain stuff going out to the body, and that's going to be our very last step in this whole process. So we're going to have stuff coming in through the Vena Cava. So these 2 here are going to be our Vena Cava. That's blood coming in from body. All right. So this blood is then going to travel from the right atrium down into the right ventricle. And once it travels through here, it's going to go back out into the lungs. So it's deoxygenated, so it needs to get oxygenated. So it's going to go back out. Okay. There we go. So it's going to go back out to the lungs, and it's going to go back out through the pulmonary artery. So that's what we're looking at right here, is the pulmonary artery. That's this one there. And so this blood is going out to the lungs. Okay. Once it goes to the lungs, it's going to get oxygenated there. So now we're going to switch over to a red pen, because once it goes to the lungs again, it's going to get oxygenated. And so now it's going to get returned to the heart for another pump, a pump around the body. Okay, so that's what I'm going to draw now. So I'm going to draw another one of these lines for more blood going out. Then I'm going to draw up here. I'm going to draw a way for the blood to get back in. Ah, there we go, not so bad. Okay. There we go. So it's going to have kind of little separate inlets from the right and left lungs. Okay, So here we're getting our blood coming back into the heart from the lungs. It's now oxygenated. And so it's going to first go into the left atrium, and it's going to get pumped through to the left ventricle. And the left ventricle will pump it out, and it's going to pump it out through the aorta. And that sends the blood to the body. Okay? So the blood's getting sent out to the body. It's going to go all around the body. It's going to get deoxygenated. So I'm going to make this a little dotted line because it's going in lots and lots of different directions. So as it goes through the body, it's getting deoxygenated, and then it's coming back in through the vena cava. So it's going to end the systemic circuit. So this here, the blood getting pumped out to the body, all around the body and in through the vena cava, that's the systemic circuit. The blood getting pumped out through the lungs and then back in, that is called the pulmonary circuit. And I forgot to tell you the names of these here that are coming in. These are the pulmonary veins. Okay, so we come in through the vena cava, out through the pulmonary artery to the lungs. We get oxygenated in the lungs, in through the pulmonary veins, and then out through the aorta.